I am sitting here on my balcony with a lukewarm espresso, watching people rush to jobs they hate to buy things they do not need to impress people who do not care. It is hilarious, really. You think you need a complex algorithmic trading strategy or a genius-level intellect to get rich, but the reality is much more insulting. You are broke because you lack the discipline to be bored. In this video, I am breaking down the exact month-by-month trajectory I would follow if I woke up tomorrow with $0 and zero influence. It is not a hustle. It is a system. If you can handle the truth without getting your feelings hurt, keep watching. Complexity is a status signal for people who want to feel smart but stay poor. If you cannot explain it to a 12-year-old, you are just gambling with your life. I am 27 years old with over $150,000 in liquid assets, and I spend most of my day doing absolutely nothing. The irony is that the less I try to be clever, the more money seems to find its way into my accounts. If I had to start from zero today, I would not be panicking, because starting with nothing is actually a massive unfair advantage. When you have nothing, you have zero ego to protect and zero reputation to lose, which means you can take the kind of aggressive risks that comfortable people are too terrified to even consider. The first month is not about grinding. It is about data, because you cannot fix what you do not measure. I remember being $36,000 in debt and shoplifting avocados just to have a decent meal because I was too scared to look at my bank statement. That is the coward way out. Step 1 is obtaining absolute brutal clarity on your 4 numbers and 2 equations. Take a piece of paper and write down your income, which is every single cent that hits your account after the government takes its cut. Then write down your expenses, including the tiny subscriptions you forgot you even had. Income minus expenses equals your surplus, and that gap is the only thing that determines if you will ever be free. Then list your assets, which are things that put money in your pocket, and your liabilities, which are things that take money out. Assets minus liabilities equals your net worth. And for most of you, that number is a depressing 0 or a terrifying negative. Stop avoiding the numbers, because money is like a jealous lover. If you ignore it, it will leave you for someone who pays attention. Spend exactly 2 hours this Saturday afternoon facing the wreckage of your financial life. Once you have the data, step 2 is the systematic brainwashing of your own mind. The version of you that is broke is the result of the garbage inputs you have been feeding your brain for the last 2 decades. If you listen to broke people, you will stay broke. And most of your friends are likely broke because they spend their time complaining rather than calculating. I want you to delete every social media app that makes you want to consume and replace them with audiobooks that teach you how to produce. Listen to the classics like Think and Grow Rich or Secrets of a Millionaire Mind while you are doing the dishes or driving to a job you despise. You need to overwrite the software in your head because your current programming is clearly malfunctioning. Step 3 is what I call a financial sprint, which is a 10-day period of absolute austerity to hustle up $2,000. For 10 days, you are going to live like a monk, cut every non-essential expense, eat nothing but rice and eggs, and cancel every subscription that bleeds $20 here and there. If I can survive a 10-day silent meditation retreat without a phone, you can survive 10 days without ordering food on an app. This sprint does 3 things. It gives you a quick win, it resets your dopamine receptors for spending, and it builds your initial $2,000 survival fund. Once you have that small cushion, we move into months 2, 3, and 4, where your only job is to sell a high-value skill. Do not tell me you do not have skills, because everyone is good at something that someone else is too lazy or too busy to do. Find the intersection of what you are good at, what you enjoy, and most importantly, what the market actually pays for. If you love painting rocks but nobody buys them, keep it as a hobby and find something that scales. I combined my ability to explain finance with a camera, and now I make more money than most doctors while sitting in a bathrobe. Lean into the skill that produces the highest hourly rate so you can widen the gap between your income and your expenses during months 5, 6, and 7. You must resist the urge to upgrade your lifestyle. This is where most people fail, because as soon as they make an extra $1,000, they buy a better car or a shinier watch. That is peasant behavior. You are going to take every extra dollar and build a 6-month emergency fund based on your bare-bones living expenses. Put this money in a high-yield savings account and leave it alone. This fund is not for investing. It is for peace of mind, so you can make decisions from a place of power rather than a place of desperation. When you have 6 months of cash sitting there, you stop being a slave to your employer. Now we reach month 8, and this is where you invest in yourself before you ever touch the stock market. The stock market returns an average of 10% a year, which is great for rich people. But 10% of $1,000 is only $100. That will not change your life. However, if you take that $1,000 and buy a certification or a sales training that increases your income by $20,000 a year, that is a 2,000% return. Stop looking for the next crypto moonshot and start looking for the next version of your own skill set. Invest in equipment, invest in networking, or invest in a mentor who has already walked the path. By month 11, you should be earning significantly more than when you started this journey now. And only now do we enter the final step of investing in index funds. I do not have the energy to pick individual stocks, and neither do you buy the entire market through low-cost index funds and let the compounding machine work in the background. Imagine the feeling of receiving a dividend check that pays for your lunch without you having to lift a finger. It starts small, maybe $20 a month, but as you feed the machine, it grows to 100, then 1,000, then 5,000. This is the boring, unsexy path to freedom that nobody wants to talk about because it does not sell courses or get clicks. But it is the only path that actually works. You do not need a miracle, you need a calendar and a calculator. If you follow this plan for 12 months, you will not even recognize the person you used to be. The world is designed to keep you distracted and broke. So the most rebellious thing you can do is become wealthy and quiet. Your financial trajectory is a direct reflection of your ability to tolerate boredom and stick to the math while everyone else is chasing shadows. I look at the people around me and I see them working 60 hours a week just to maintain a lifestyle that makes them miserable, which is a form of insanity I will never understand. They are terrified of the silence that comes with having no debt and no drama, so they manufacture crisis after crisis to keep themselves busy. Wealth is about the removal of friction, not the accumulation of more stuff that requires your attention and your maintenance. If you can get through the first 12 months of this plan without sabotaging yourself, you will have more power than 99% of the population. Power is not about controlling others, it is about having complete control over your own 24 hours. I wake up and I check my accounts not because I am obsessed with money, but because those numbers represent the fortress I have built around my freedom. The 6-month emergency fund is your moat, the high-value skill is your weapon, and the index funds are the citizens working to keep the kingdom thriving. Most of you are trying to lead a kingdom when you cannot even manage a $2,000 credit card balance. Get your house in order first before you start dreaming of empires. There is a specific kind of arrogance in thinking you are too good for the basics of budgeting and saving. That arrogance is why you are still checking your bank balance before you buy a cup of coffee. I stopped caring about what people thought of my cheap car and my small apartment years ago, and that is exactly why I can afford to sit here today and tell you how to do it. The trap of lifestyle inflation is the most effective cage ever built for the middle class. Every time you get a raise, you buy a bigger house or a newer car, and you reset the clock on your slavery. You are running on a treadmill that keeps getting faster, and you are wondering why you are exhausted. Jump off the treadmill. Stop trying to win a game that is rigged against you. The only way to win is to stop playing by their rules and start playing by the laws of mathematics. Wealth compounds, but so does stupidity, and you have been compounding stupidity for way too long. I am offering you a way out that requires no luck, no inheritance, and no special connections. It only requires you to be consistent for 12 months, which for most of you is asking too much. You would rather search for a hidden treasure map than follow a paved road to safety. If you are still watching this, you are likely part of the small percentage of people who are actually capable of change. But change is not a feeling, it is an action that you repeat until it becomes a habit. I want you to imagine the day when your passive income covers your basic needs and your active income is just a bonus. That is the day you truly become a free human being. Until then, you are just a tenant in someone else's world. I have finished my espresso and the sun is shifting, so I am going to wrap this up. The plan is clear. The month-by-month roadmap is laid out, and the excuses are starting to sound pathetic. Go check your numbers and start your 10-day sprint immediately. I do not care if you subscribe or like this video, I just care that you stop being a victim of your own poor decisions. The world is noisy enough, so I am going back to my silence. Good luck with your math, you will need it. Every time I see someone post about their new luxury watch while they have zero assets, I laugh because they are essentially wearing a pair of golden handcuffs. You are trading your life force for a shiny object that loses value the second you walk out of the store. The elite of this world do not want you to understand how simple wealth is, because if everyone was free, there would be no one left to do the grunt work. They need you to stay in debt, they need you to stay distracted by the news and the latest trends. The moment you realize that 2 hours of accounting on a Saturday can save you 40 years of labor is the moment you become dangerous to the system. I choose to be dangerous, and I choose to be quiet about it. My $150,000 is not a world record, but it is a massive shield against the chaos of the economy. When the market drops, I do not panic because my survival fund is already sitting there in cash. I do not need to sell my investments to pay for my rent. That is the peace of mind that allows you to think clearly and make better decisions. The rich get richer because they are not acting out of desperation. When you are desperate, you make mistakes and you take bad deals. When you are secure, you can wait for the best opportunities to come to you. This plan is designed to move you from desperation to security as fast as humanly possible. The first $2,000 is the hardest money you will ever make because it requires you to break the habit of consumption. Once you break that habit, the next $20,000 becomes easier, and the $100,000 after that becomes inevitable. It is a snowball that starts with a single handful of cold reality. I am done with the motivation and the talking. The reality is that 90% of you will do nothing with this information. You will go back to your social media feed and forget everything I said by tomorrow morning. But for the 10% of you who actually follow through, I will see you on the other side. I have a book to read and a nap to take, so do not bother me with questions that you can answer yourself with a calculator. The logic is sound and the road is open. Everything else is just your own resistance to becoming who you are supposed to be. Stop being the obstacle in your own life, move out of the way, and let the math work. I am finally closing my eyes. Now goodbye. The breeze on this balcony is the only thing I care about right now because I have earned the right to ignore everything else. I want you to feel that same level of apathy toward the world. Less problems because your own house is in order. There is no greater luxury than being able to turn off your phone and not worry about your bank account. It is a state of being that most people will never experience because they are too busy being busy. Do not be busy, be effective. The month-by-month plan I gave you is the peak of effectiveness. It targets the 4 numbers that actually move the needle, it ignores the noise and focuses on the signal. Wealth is the quietest thing in the world. It does not need to boast, it does not need to show off, and it certainly does not need your approval. I am 27 years old, and I have already seen enough to know that the conventional path is a lie designed to keep you productive for someone else. Benefit, I decided to be productive for myself. I decided to treat my life like a business and my time like the most valuable asset in the world. If you do the same, you will find that the world starts to work for you instead of against you. The friction disappears, the stress melts away, and you are left with the simple, boring, beautiful reality of freedom. I am not a guru, and I am not your friend. I am just a guy who realized that the math is simple and the discipline is rare. If you want to be rare, be disciplined. If you want to be common, keep doing what you are doing. The result is guaranteed in both directions. I am going to finish this thought, and then I am going to disappear back into my silence. The next 12 months are coming whether you are ready or not. You can either be a victim of time or a master of it. The choice is yours. But do not pretend like you did not have a map. I gave you the map. Now start walking. The silence here is expensive, and I have paid for it in full. I suggest you do the same. The calculations are waiting. The sprint is waiting. The index funds are waiting. Go. Now really, this is the end of the script. The work is yours. The coffee is cold. The sunset is coming. I am out. Stop looking for more advice and start looking at your bank account. The answers are all there. 1 year, 1 plan, 1 result, wealth, freedom, boredom, discipline, success. Goodbye. Do not waste another second on a video if you have not checked your numbers yet. That is the only thing that matters. Action over information. Always the balcony is mine, the future is yours, take it done, period, stop, final, go. Wealth is a decision, decide. Now I am finally done, truly no more words, just execution. The clock starts now, the 12 months start now. Good luck, although luck has nothing to do with it, the math is final, the result is inevitable. The journey is yours, the end.